Day 58. So we're still at the Devil's Backbone Brewery, and this is the hiker breakfast is $5.75. It comes with coffee that has real half and half.
None of that cream stuff.
Yeah, none of that powdered.
Fresh pineapple.
Yeah, fresh pineapple, and then whatever the chef wants to make for the hikers.
The most balanced breakfast we've had.
Yeah, we actually haven't had vegetables in. It seems like they didn't even have vegetables in Glasgow. They had onions in the whole. That's all they had in the whole town, were onions.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe a carrot.
Oh, that would have been nice. And there was one banana
Oh.
that Two Blade bought.
She bought it.
That one banana. And where the let's see, what was it? Where the produce was, it was in the power tool section.
Yeah.
At the grocery store.
So odd. Oh, rotten potatoes. Or
Yeah.
maybe it was like a potato growing kit, like the starter kit.
Anyway, this place is sweet though. People are just relaxing. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's the way to do it though. She can work from anywhere, which is awesome. Man, check this out. So we're going over there tomorrow, which is Waynesboro. And this farmer down here with those silos is putting up his grass. It's kind of awesome. Some cattle and stuff. The story of today was flat trails, smooth, real nice. I'm rocking some just like a 2-hour lo-fi hip-hop mix today, which is real nice. I only listen to music maybe one day a week. I'll listen for like 2 or 3 hours, and then mostly just instrumentals, whether it's like Metallica or some kind of classical. I'm not trying to hear what everybody's talking about. It just kind of gets old hearing all the lyrics, but there are some awesome songs. Every now and then, like on the when I take a Zero or a Nero, I'll actually listen to full-on music. But yeah, some of the lo-fi is pretty cool though, because it's cruiser music. The Metallica gets me moving. Like if I threw on like Orion right now, I might just take off and go like 3.5, 4 miles per hour. And it's crazy because my right foot's been a problem since the start of the trail. It's just flat, and it's always sore, like the arch. I mean, I have all kinds of support in there, but if I put on music, it's like for some reason like the body will just like forget that foot even hurts, and it just wants to perform. I used to trail run and listen to a lot of music, and it was awesome, man. You can really get pumped up and throw down some fast miles. If little music, little coffee, like some strong coffee in the morning for me, and the right soundtrack equals speed and fun. I mean, I'm guessing that's Wintergreen Resort. It's pretty. I'd ski that place. That place looks like fun. It's small, but it just sits out over this huge valley. It's awesome. Every white blaze. Yo. So, yesterday, I started talking about the Virginia blues and what those are. And it's this idea that Virginia has a psychological effect on hikers that makes them sad. Hashtag sad. Did we experience the Virginia blues? Yeah, actually we did. And so did our cohorts. Some of them to greater degrees than others. Some of for the most part, it was, I think in our group, it was pretty lightweight. There were just a couple days where we just all felt like, well, one or the other of one of us at a time, or sometimes all of us just kind of felt like it's you feel a little bit. I mean, some of the symptoms could be like despair or longing to do something else, like thinking about home, a little bit of depression, just sadness, and then also the urge to stop or to quit or to go in, and then you have this worry that if you go in that you're not going to be able to get back on trail. Giving up, that's another symptom and I guess sometimes outcome of the blues. So mostly in the 700s. So it was, for us, it came across our tramway. That's Bunny and Smash and Nipples and me, of course. We started to notice it kind of in the 700s, and there we all talked about kind of just, we never called it and said, oh my gosh, there's this just really sucks, let's call it a day and go home. But each of us at different times would say, man, I just feel really crappy today. And what we thought, kind of after talking about it and eating dinner and talking about it several times, what we just think is that it just has to do with being on trail for 50 days. Something I would say, and that's one of the reasons. So for example, if you're really excited about getting a job and you've been applying for some work, and the more you apply for work, the more you want it. And so finally you get the job after applying for it for a long time. In my case, applying to be a thru hiker took me 10 years. And then you get the job, and then 50 or 60 days go by, and you're like, man, I kind of see what sucks about this, and it just all becomes very intensified. That's kind of what that's what happens in Virginia. Like, you know, getting through the Carolinas, getting through Georgia is just like it's like a sprint. Like, you're trying to get out of Georgia just so you can kind of get ahead of this like massive pack of people. I don't even know if they are through hikers, or who knows what all those people were in Georgia. There are just a lot of them. So you get past them and you get into North Carolina, and it starts this like very intense trail, and you're kind of challenged and you're in awe of the trail. And then you get through that, and North Carolina, you know, as you know, it's just big trail. I mean, you're on top of all these big mountains, and it's really cold, and there's like this high intensity. And then you get into Virginia, and you have this expectation of flowy trail and, you know, days that aren't that tough and whatever else. Well, in reality, all that happens is the days don't seem like they get any easier. Some days actually seem very hard, but in the end of the day, you just kind of notice that you've done more miles. And that's, you know, it's like everyone says, well, yeah, it's because it's easier. It's not easier. It's, in the end, it's just as difficult, but you do more miles. So, you know, there's an element of ease by being able to do more miles. But it's not, you know, it doesn't seem any easier. It's still hard days. And Smash, one of his, I think, great lines is that, a quotable from Smash, who you saw this morning eating breakfast with us, is that there are no easy days on the AT. And that has held true. There hasn't been an easy day. Now, sometimes we fly into town and do a Nero. That could be an easy day, but that's a Nero. We're only doing 5 miles. We're not pushing our bodies out to where things get difficult. And even Neros are difficult. You get into a small town and you got to go hike to get food and resupply and call all kinds of people, and you go through these like logistical nightmares, and you want to relax, and then all of a sudden it's 8 o'clock at night and you're like, damn, 8 o'clock at night means it's bedtime because I'm getting up at 6 to get back on trail. So yeah, even like Neros can be a real letdown. But anyway, that's one reason for the blues. Other reasons, you know, so yeah, you've been on trail for 50 plus days, and it's just starting to really sink in. And distractions, like, this is another one of those places where you kind of need to have a laser type focus. Whether it's the focus on getting to Katahdin or the focus on relaxing. I think that's, for me, the hardest thing to do is to relax. You know, or have a focus on a small goal, like getting to the next town and then getting to the next town, or, you know, finding your favorite species of bird. Or, you know, someone just passed me a couple miles back and showed me a picture of a massive rattlesnake. Like, I'd love to see that. I think that would make me have an interesting day. Anyway, there are just things that can turn it on. But when we got out of the 700s and we crossed into 800, it seemed like all of those nonsensical emotions went away. And part of it is because the trail changed. We just had our last massive climb. So you climb through the Priest Wilderness and you go over 3 ridges, which is a tough climb. It's like a triple tough climb. Like, you start and you're like, that was a tough climb, and then it would be nice if that was over. And then you hit this middle patch. It's like, wow, that was really tough. Can't believe I had to use my hands to climb over these rocks. And that's over. Then there's another hard climb on top, and it's like a never-ending climb. Well, once you're done with that, you get into this like smooth trail town that I'm dealing with right now. Today, then we stopped at the brewery, which was awesome. That really lifted. That's always a spirit lift when you get to take a shower in a really nice, clean environment. And then got to eat some good food last night. And then the chef hooked up that amazing hiker breakfast, which, man, that breakfast was like a saving grace. And they really hooked the hikers up there. So big shout out to Devil's Backbone. Thanks for accommodating us. I know we're like a spoiled breed, but it still is. Like one lady said, you get out there and people might say that you're spoiled and whatever else, but in the end, you spend so much time on trail, and the people who come off trail, it just seems like they do a lot of good things for a lot of people for the rest of their lives. And that was kind of something that a lady named Anne left with us. Just kind of a thought that she left with us after a big hiker feed. Back around I think that was around mile 680, right before 700. But that was really nice of her. So yeah, the hiker, the feed this morning was, or the food this morning was fantastic, and the brewery was amazing. And tonight we're going to shelter, and then tomorrow morning we're going to go into Waynesboro. I'm going to look at some shoes. We're going to resupply. I'll talk about my shoes in the next maybe tomorrow. Tell you what's going on with them. And so that's just a small 10-minute take on the Virginia blues. Now today and yesterday, do we have anything to be blue about? No, and we changed. How are we combating blues? We've actually kind of changed we're actually starting to sink in, I should say, into what we wanted to do with the hike. And what is that? What did we want to do with the hike? We wanted to come out and relax and stop, we've been treating it like a job, and it's physically demanding. I mean, I feel like I'm out here hanging drywall all day. It's that demand. If you've ever hung drywall, talk about getting into the doldrums, especially when you're by yourself doing it. It can be just a physical battle day by day by day, and it just seems like it's a never-ending, task. And when you have like a little minor injury, I always have some kind of minor injury, like whether it's like a forearm or a shoulder, and on hiking, in this case, it's like I've got this like little pain in my foot from right in the arch, just from having flat feet. And that can compound some of the sorrow. So that's what the trail was feeling like to me. That was what my blues looked like. It looked like I just felt like I was locked in a house hanging drywall I just started to feel like that emotional energy where it's like, man, this is brutal, and it just doesn't look like it's ever going to end. But how are we getting by it? We're doing shorter days. We are enjoying Virginia. Virginia is fantastic if you take your time through it. And it's beautiful too. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this view, but it's a beautiful state. And there's so much to do in each town. I mean, there are literally, we're coming into the Shenandoahs in the next day. There are literally 100 wineries below the Shenandoah. It's not like we need to go drink wine, but it just is that environment of R&R, and that's kind of how we've changed. I'm now into like this vacation mode, and going. We're not overspending. We're just taking it a little bit easier, enjoying the hostels. We're gonna hostel in Waynesboro, and I don't know. I just feel like we put the goals aside, the goals of like trying to get some, like try to hit some like milepost every day. We kind of put that aside, and we're just kind of always looking forward to the next place, and that just for some reason has made this trail just more beautiful and more enjoyable. And that's the crazy thing, is like your mindset really translates back to, you know, for me it translates back to what I wanted to be out here for, which is you know, watching nature go by, watching the leaves change, watching, you know, rattlesnakes, and hearing birds, hearing the different songbirds coming through, the owls at nighttime, watching the moon. You know, there's just stuff that you want to do when you're sitting there clicking away in your office, you know, or doing, you know, doing hard deals at work, or whatever it is that you do. So, like this big tree in front of us. I love big trees. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. We will talk to you later. And one last side note regarding how to get over these Virginia blues. There are section hikers, and spending time with section hikers there are a lot of section hikers in here, which is awesome. Spending time with them is a great way to get over the blues. Shout out to Wingnut, who gave both my wife and I at separate times a big pep talk while we were staying at Stanimals. And not that we asked for a pep talk, but he just gave one without even knowing it. He just sat there and was talking about how amped he was for the last several days on trail, even though his knees were bothering him. He just started talking about the trail, and it was interesting because he just kind of brought in that energy that we had when we started it. And we both talked about that, and how getting on trail after hanging out with him just was a really nice, just made the day amazing. And then same thing, there are the two brothers, Gus and Bad Decisions. We rolled with them for several days, kind of bounced in and out of different shelters where they were staying, and those guys were awesome to hang out with. They had a really great take on life, great attitudes, funny people, and then we've got some other sectioners too, and yeah, just their fresh energy, and they're all really cool people, and their seriousness in life, it's just refreshing. So that's another way to kind of, if you find yourself in the doldrums doing something, whether it's hiking the trail or at work, you know, go talk to somebody who's just getting back into something, or getting into that thing that you're doing that you're tired of, and they might just from talking to them for 5 or 10 minutes, they might remind you of all the joys that you also enjoy, that they're living deeply in because they just got there. So anyway, peace out. We'll see you later.